Our bio for Justin. Justin lives in New Orleans and edits Trampoline, a journal of poetry, which everyone should submit to. He is the author of 3 chapbooks, including My Heart is Shaped Like a Bed, 46 Sonnets. Is it coming out this year or it already came out?
It's right here.
All right, buy this book. And this fire forthcoming from Ursus Americanus Press. Woo! All right, give it up for Justin.
Hi, I'm filling in for Justin Lamb, who, if you don't know, is a tremendous poet and performer, and I hope you all come back to see him when he's actually here, but I'll try to be entertaining. These are some poems I wrote. Is there a lot of feedback? No? Okay.
I can turn it a little bit.
Okay.
This one was on it first. Try now?
Okay. No one should take these poems very seriously. These are just poems I wrote during COVID. I wanted to write something sweet and funny at a time when not much was sweet and funny. So I hope you'll take them that way. This is called Snake Drive. Let me turn now from my Smallville fan fiction and praise you who are killing it with thrift store finds, killing it with paper boats in the gutter. You who once pushed your sleeping bag close to mine, whispered we should drive and drive, chasing silhouettes like the quivering tail of an adventure, and wrung out 2 tears, who later lifted a beer to the suffragettes and the union men, though your own heart kept breaking. And may I say your hometown is just a dead zone of concrete and traffic without you in it. You who raise the middle finger with grace and power, like every punk song that should rightly bear your name. Thank you. Probably the less I talk between the poems, it's going to be better. This is called Crisis. You have the crassest mouth. Sometimes when I go whole weeks without talking to you, I crawl to the heart of the rain, hoping for distraction, or at least pain behind my eyes. A high where colors all run together. Nothing prepares me for your return, walking across the parking lot. The sky is turning dark. There's blue smoke in your hair, a glass of something in your hand. All the dumpsters in your path weigh less than one of your whispers. This is called Palookaville. Over the interstate, by the water tank, there's a billboard of a personal injury attorney and his dog. The dog is wearing a shirt and tie, like it's a lawyer too. Okay. I just wanted to let you know this is a thing, though not a thing we do, which I guess is the point. I want us to have a code, like daffodils have a code, like silk moths have a code. Here comes the night, nervous as my fingers on your waist. Porch lights flicker, and music trembles in from the alley. Sometimes a slow song comes on and I think, fucking A, as if you were here. What happened to tonight? I wanted to talk, but the night got away. I listened to the same sad sack song over and over because it shares your name. The singer claims he's wasted, but on what? Mike's Hard Lemonade or some other alternative, most likely. Nothing that would help me walk the thin blade of slapstick and flirtation. I need something to give me gravitas. Boilermakers, those cigars with the wooden tip. So you believe me when I say your animal isn't an owl made of dust or a fox made of snow. I picture a raccoon sprawled over your shoulders. You feed it the sweet drunk of leftovers. Promise it can live in your kitchen when all the trees are gone. This is Sonnet ending with lines by Tom Petty. You say our youth is a museum of clumsy shadows. You say words like picaresque and everlasting. You say fuck it, and I heard these guys suck live. You say night music is the only music worth listening to. You say a child was born who can beat sadness. You say you cry because no one else will, but I say you cry because there's no one else there. Part of me you humor by talking about heaven. Part of me scratches your name in the sidewalk with glass. Part of me thinks your mixtape is a monument to innocence and distortion. Part of me says your voice is the shy voice of a child pretending to be an adult. Part of me can barely hear your voice as I get old. Part of me hasn't changed. Part of me is always alone. Part of me you carry. Part of me is gone. This is called Monday. You've got your shit together. I bet you clean while you cook. I could never do that. I betrayed my early potential early on, while you search past your early potential like a fictional tree whose branches never end, but simply blend in with the world around them. Sometimes I think of you sitting in bed, your hair tied back, breezing through your pile of depressing books. The thought balloon wraps around and around my throat, tightens till I can see it, all your blue branches turning into sky. And this is more of the same, but on letter paper. What next? Did you see the news? It's a concussed day in the Republic. 2 girls in bikinis tossing a rubber brain back and forth. Is this history? No. History is what happens when you're trying to make mojitos, put kids to bed, when you're trying not to look. Please don't cry. I'll do the thing where I pound the table so hard, food jumps off the plate and into my mouth. That used to cheer you up. There are crowds and debris, sad songs in the streets. I want to carry you away from all of this. I'll put you down someplace safe, like where the forest has taken back the strip club, where no one sees your tears, and the stage belongs to the trees. You doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay. This is called Tiny Steps. The woman at the discount grocery, the one with the neck brace and the yoga is not church t-shirt, has probably forgotten more than I know about passion in sad rooms. But I want to surprise you with a serrated valentine I hammered together. Surprise you with the story of how a bird swooped down and swallowed a Venus flytrap. But the flytrap gnawed a hole in the bird's belly midair till they both crashed by the orthodontics place. You may say that's not even how it works. But don't worry. This story is just for you. You love tenacious Venus flytraps, and this is how we build our culture. Getting there. This is Sonnet beginning with my neighbor Kenny. Kenny says he's rewatched the Blair Witch Project with fresh eyes. He sees a heretofore unthinkable love triangle. I nod politely. I wish the 3 beers I drank would wash me back to you, even just to catch a bad movie. Do you remember my dad when Blair Witch came out? Boy, Go grab the camcorder and make your father $30 million. We shrugged and drove out into a night that seemed to never end. That was then. Now I struggle just to keep our conversation going. Could replace birds with mechanical birds. Only you would notice. The winds turn caustic. Light still filters through the trees. The light still tries, but now it has to try harder. This is the last poem I'll read. I thank so much Nikki and Michelle for having me at the Golden. And I'm especially grateful to be reading with this good company of people. Should be a good night. So I'll close with this. This is called This Fire. We are sitting by a fire, one of those theater fires, made of red and yellow and orange tissue paper. A light bulb at the center. A little fan inside to make the flames flicker. We're surrounded by trees made of chicken wire and paper mache. I can't see past them. The sky is flat, and there's no moon or stars. I don't know where we are or how we got here, but your face is kind, and the fake flames shine in your glasses. You say beyond the trees lies a darkness, followed by a darker darkness, which is the same as saying the only place that matters is here. Thank you all.
It is not easy to kick off a night of readings, and just thank you, Justin, for taking that on for us. If you missed the intro, Justin runs a journal called Trampoline. You should submit and also buy his 2 books, one that just came out, the sonnet book that you read from, and the book that comes out next year.
Stacey Balkun is the author of Sweet Bitter and co-editor of Fourlay and Wing, an anthology of domestic fabulist poetry. Winner of the 2019 New South Writing Contest, as well as Terrain.org's 10th annual contest. Her work has appeared in Best New Poets 2018, Mississippi Review, Pleiades, and several other anthologies and journals. Stacey holds an MFA from Fresno State and teaches creative writing online at the Poetry Barn. Let's have a warm welcome for Stacey Balkun.
Energy we need, but maybe it wasn't a mistake. I'm going to read some poems from Sweet Bitter, which some poems I don't usually read from here. So this book largely takes place in the Possumtown neighborhood of Piscataway, New Jersey, which is home to a former Union Carbide plant, which was known to pollute the groundwater. We know a little bit about that down here ourselves. And the Middlesex sampling plant, which was a testing facility for the atomic bomb. And no one told us this shit growing up. Element of red. We burned through September, rusted oaks and maples refusing to give up their brilliance. In the heat of late afternoon, the factory blew its snowy dissonance through our woods, the chemical smell of popcorn and dryer sheets. She was apple child, and I was a fistful of clover, until I got a splinter from her swing set and she ran away, terrified of AIDS, because by 2nd grade they taught us to fear each other. I skipped church to climb trees, a possum girl, and none of us knew about the radiation or the groundwater or how the rectory was built above contaminated fill. If we could leave it all behind, simply step into a painting, we may not choose Arcadia. We could be capable of anything, or maybe just tumored, paranoid. Well, if you have lost your mind, blame Union Carbide, blame the atomic bomb, Alan says. It's not my fault. We were all baptized in radioactive dirt, given bread and told to stay away from blood. As far as I know, the river never caught fire, but our throats itched rough enough to strike a match. This is Two Girls on Fire. Two girls on fire blazed through the forest, bics tight and closed fists, painted lips smoking. Their tongues lit up like oak leaves, bronzed as books of matches, tucked into back pockets. Their story and its ending not yet written. This, their last summer together, every day above 90, and the old crabapple trunk split down the center, sap dripping through the heat of another drought. Thick as the blood that stained their shorts, turning smut twigs into kindling, rough as the shadows around the mouths of boys who edged against the tree line, boys smelling of pitch and butane, boys spilling whiskey on the fire, eager and aching for flame. There's a weird poem in here called The Book of Red, and it is a sort of a sonnet crown, and it uses a lot of found text from fairy tales and mythology and some of the actual EPA documents about this, these different spaces in my hometown. So I haven't read this out loud before, but I'm gonna read the last last couple sections of the sonnet crown, and I guess when it's found text, I'll try to alert you to that. All that attention, and still, I didn't see his teeth. And still, it's my fault, I didn't see his teeth, even when he smiled and took my hand. Other girls were going. He had grabbed a girl's ass on the school bus, and we all chose to forget. His mom had just died. It seemed like he needed me. I wanted to go with him, and then I didn't. When I wouldn't take off my bikini, he grew impatient. Said I should let him untie the straps or leave. He reached up, and I didn't resist. My bathing suit was red. I was scarcely a girl in a body unfinished. The wolf had scarcely finished when he jumped from the bed with a single leap. Where are you going, little red cap? To grandmother's. And she ran off, going further and further into the woods. We wanted to wander further into the woods for berries and swim in the creek. We wanted a life like the storybooks, all songbirds and happily ever after, not this barbed wire and chain link, not chlorine-stained hair, unwrapping bomb pops from the ice cream truck. The offices knew the health effects would not surface for up to 50 years, a 1967 Union Carbide memo proved. Make hay while the sun shines. It's overcast. It's shady, except in winter when the oaks cough up clumps of leaves, and we can see almost all the way to the factory from just behind the pool. Is a good quarter hour from here in the woods, under 3 large oak trees. You must know the place. You must know the place where little Redcap entered the woods. There was supposed to be a hunter in this suburban town, somewhere in the murk. The dirt, the chlorine, everything always smelled, and we itched. A chemical pond at the edge of our woods. We waded in, waiting to be rewritten, recreated, weak. I couldn't account for the forest or the trees, paying too much attention to the wolf we always wanted to find and cut open. No berries, no choice. It was not a sunny day. Thank you. I feel like everybody has their girl imitation at some point, right? So this is mine. Why the neighbors told us we weren't allowed to talk to boys. Because they'd smell bad and be mean. Because they never would brush their ugly teeth. Because we caught them with a heat-changing novelty lighter, painted with a pinup girl, lingerie waning into skin as they held her. Because the radio would say, "Give it up to me," and we'd all sing along. Because they beg and plead, and we've always told you to know better. So we knew better and only did what we wanted when. Because they could play Iron Man on the keypad of the payphone at the park, but we liked that. Because one boy sold coke in his treehouse, and don't you remember how his mother finally called the cops on her own son? Because another one later would burn his family's house down, accidentally strung out on something. Because even then Alan would drop out of school for a while, and we all feared he'd turn up dead. Because he didn't. He'd get his shit together instead, but still. Because he would always be so much older than you, 17 years cutting like a switchblade. Because if you're not careful, he'll soon coax you out of your dress in the back of a car parked in his grandmother's driveway, as if neither of us tore at his pants eager. Because they rode dirt bikes into the woods, cleared a path along the chain link fence. Because another one would disappear, just one day be gone, and another would hang himself using his own belt, his boy body dangled like a receiver, because we don't like your friends, who will all be at the funeral, and so you're forbidden to go. Because you'd go anyway, all the time, shimmying out windows and down the gutters clung hollow against your girlish weight, and because, see, look at their bad influence, they did this to you, all of this done to you, and still, you should have known better. You hang up, you broken slut, you girl. Yikes. I guess I already did this, but I'm allowed to cuss, right? I really hate birds. Like a lot. So this is my anti-ode to the Canada goose. Canada geese. I hate their V's in flight, and I hate them standing, wings opened wide as they balance on gross bird feet. And I hate that they lay eggs and shit, and I don't want to know why it's green and scuffed and scattered over every field I ever ran across as a girl, uniformed in a rink jersey and shin guards. It's disgusting why I had to run across so many soccer fields, to chase the geese off before a game, to avoid the boys that were always fast, always so much faster than me, always coming closer, so I'd take off across green acres, that rutted throng of fields behind the high school, pocked and faded with chalk lines, and I'd run to the tree line, underbrush colonized by the fucking geese and their nests, so aggressive, while I had only mucked cleats and a stick for defense. Terrorized, terrified, and no, I never offered anything, not even a gulp of spring water or a quartered orange, just covered my ears against their awful sound, all of the terrible noise they made, honking and hissing with their dried black tongues. Woo. Not everything in here is that dark. Well, maybe that one is. I'm going to end with a cento because it seems important to pull in more voices sometimes. So none of these lines are mine, but it's called Conservation Effort. Night covers the pond with its wing. No place to go now except into deep ground. Absences allow us one power over them. You have to imagine a shadow hill hiding inside. The water is a mess. The world is blue in its edges and in its depths. The water seems suspended, the geese flying low over the marsh. We say of them what we want, reaching out for the unlimited. Even now, this landscape is assembling its truth against truth. Sometimes we miss the things we have lost, even if we love the water we swim in now. Thanks so much, y'all.
Stacey Balkun. All right, Liz, sweet Elizabeth, Miki Brina, writes exclusively memoir, which I feel like was intentionally put in there because Michelle and I are both poets or something, I don't know. You're just establishing your ground. You're like, I do memoirs.
Clever.
No, I love it. So Elizabeth Miki Brina writes exclusively memoirs. She doesn't know how to make something up unless she really believes it actually happened to her. Her debut book, Speak Okinawa, was published by Knopf in February of 2021 and was one of NPR's best books of the year. Her work has also appeared in The Sun, River Chief, Lit Hub, and Gulf Coast, among others. She lives in New Orleans and teaches at the University of New Orleans. Y'all, if you don't know Liz Brina, you will now. Give it up for Liz.
Yeah, I was trying to throw like a witty line there in my bio, and I was just like, oh no, that didn't work out. Thank you so much. I'm having an amazing time tonight. Like everyone's amazing, yeah. So the lights are so bright. The last and only time I read at Gold Room was in 2016. I think it was my third year in the MFA program. And it was also the first time I'd ever read anything that I wrote in public. So I thought, like, why don't I make this even more terrifying? Because I'm a masochist, because I guess all writers are masochists. So I'm like, I'm gonna read an essay I wrote about the first blowjob I gave. You know? There's your content warning. And so the essay is very important to me, and I feel like it's maybe becoming even more pertinent to me now, just like recent global and personal events. So I used this reading at Gold Room to motivate me to like go back to it and like revise it, update it. So it's an old essay, but it's also brand new.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's called My First Yes, and it's a long one. So if you can see, there's thickness in this. Yeah, sit tight. So, My First Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It happened in a basement amidst a gathering of friends. I was sitting on a rug on the floor, neck tight, shoulders stiff, clutching a sweater in my lap. He was sitting across the room from me, arms splayed, legs extended, claiming the couch to himself. Friends cooperated and collaborated, blatantly avoiding the couch. They dawdled around the stereo, the pool table, the refrigerator, sipping beer, pretending not to watch while they waited for the first move. I could feel his eyes on me. I could feel all their eyes on me. I looked. He patted the cushion next to him. I followed his signal. Friends nodded and giggled, then hurried upstairs to leave me and him alone together. He could have tried harder to strike a conversation. He asked how I was doing. I mustered a good or fine or okay. He squinted, leaned over to kiss me. He and I kissed for a few seconds, but I was afraid I wasn't kissing right. Afraid he wasn't enjoying the kissing. The kissing was just an obligatory means to a more worthy end. And so it jolted, pushed him away. He and I were both startled by my reaction. I didn't know what else to do, so I did what I knew I was supposed to do, what was already arranged. I slid off the couch, knelt on the floor, and bowed between his legs. I unbuckled his belt, unbuttoned his button, unzipped his zipper, and peeled the unfastened part of his pants. He wasn't wearing any underwear. He was already erect. A huge relief. That made what I was supposed to do a lot easier. It was the first time I had seen a penis up close. Disarming, sort of adorable, pink and smooth and delicate, exposed like a newborn. I had been given detailed instructions. I had been shown the procedure. I had rehearsed. But perhaps the only semblance of intimacy in that moment was yielding to this sudden compulsion to nurture, handle with care. I wrapped my hand around the base and tilted the tip toward me. I opened my mouth. He wasn't my first crush, but he was a painful one. I suffered at the end of a long line of supplicating prospects. As with most crushes, before we train ourselves to want who wants us, assigns us equally enviable value, he accentuated and proved my inadequacy. The ultimate prize that could negate everything I assumed I lacked, if achieved. Impossible. And yet, one evening, during band practice, which I dutifully attended every weekend, in his basement, as he sat at his set of drums and I sat on the rug on the floor, front row, facing him, he engaged in a bout of peekaboo, hiding behind the cymbals, re-emerging, smiling, looking straight at me. At me! I got the dumbest idea. I told my friend, girlfriend of the lead singer, who told his friend, the lead singer, who told him about my crush. He processed the news with immediate resourcefulness, relaying the message through his friend and my friend that he would let me give him a blowjob. I was 14 years old. He was 2 years older. I often wonder why he would propose such a solution to me rather than any of his other groupies. Was I so low in rank, so short on clout and viability? Was I too dark-haired and dark-skinned? Was my crush on him too preposterous? How did he expect me to respond? He'll let you, my friend said, offended on my behalf, then laughed. Maybe he was joking. Maybe he was bluffing. Maybe when I called his bluff, I gave him no choice but to call my bluff in return. Maybe when I told my friend to tell his friend to tell him, yes, I'll do it, I trumped his initial hunch. I stooped lower. This over-accountability is a tendency that still persists. I started it. I could have stopped it. I'm responsible for how I'm perceived and treated. But I'm tired of lifting the standard, guarding the line, making sure no one dares to cross. Just let me quit the line. Just don't cross. Nothing else had ever happened. That is, nothing according to my narrow concept of what should have happened by the tender age of 14 years old. I had never held hands with a boy. I had never cuddled with a boy. I had never felt the weight of an arm, the warmth of a chest. The last and only time a boy had kissed me was 3 years prior on a playground, on a fucking playground, in the center of a ring of kids, snarling, chanting, goading, as if they were trying to force two captured squirrels to tussle. And I leaned too fast, opened my mouth too wide, forgot to pucker, and teeth collided. And apparently I nicked his lip with my braces. And all those who witnessed, including the boy, especially the boy, commenced to teasing mercilessly, and I had not yet fully recovered. Some of my friends were going to second and third base. Some of my friends were having sex. I wanted my own spotlight. I wanted my own adventure. Of course, there was a glimmer of hope that if he would allow my mouth to go so near and around his penis, he must have been at least a little fond of me. I didn't know of the expression, a blowjob has no face, or along the same chain of logic, a body attached to a person with a humble desire to touch and be touched. I didn't know that the implied rewards aren't inherent in the act of self, the mere physical mechanics. Meaning is determined by intention, by the mingling of two intentions. It can mean something good, or it can mean something bad, to put it simply. I believe that something, anything, was better than nothing. Despite my more realistic notion that he really wasn't fond of me, highly disregarded me, I believed a blowjob could be my start, my big break, my opportunity to woo him. Or a blowjob could be as close as I could get to him. And I was willing to settle for as close as I could get to him. Settling is another tendency I've been completely outgrown. How can I raise the bar when progress moves so slowly and retracts so quickly, not just ever so slightly further beyond a receding bare minimum? Why should I coax, plead, bargain, demand what I deserve in lieu of a bona fide offer? Just rise above without my insistence. Just arrive better than decent. We had to wait until the next scheduled band practice. That was when we were guaranteed a secure place with nominal parental supervision. But band practice without a band wouldn't be very convincing. So the lead singer, the guitarist, the bassist, their friends and girlfriends, and the rest of the usual groupies had to be invited as well. I invited a few extra for moral support. We were throwing a blowjob party, and I was the guest of honor. For several days leading to the event, I solicited advice from anyone who was qualified and keen to share her wisdom. One friend, girlfriend of the lead singer, demonstrated using a banana, a fucking banana, showing me how to hold the banana steady, how to lick to add lubrication, how to pucker, must remember to pucker, to shield my teeth, dear God, no teeth, how to synchronize the stroking of my hand with the bobbing of my head. She warned about the cum, how it would squirt, and for a novice, unpredictably, how it was thick like a goober and salty, tasted fairly unpleasant, but considered a nice gesture to swallow. An inspirational training montage. Such effort and devotion I didn't question. Didn't ask myself once if he was preparing himself for me, if he was giddy with anticipation for me. The whole point was to get him off. Seemed right, seemed natural. Although I fantasized about the soft caressing, the heavy petting, the mysterious foreplay bound to occur before the requisite deed, I understood that any gratification I experienced would be vicarious or serendipitous. And that was just how it ought to be. The year was 1995. The band practiced while I received pep talks in the bathroom. Wear your hair down. Take your sweater off. In a basement in the middle of February in upstate New York, I was a most graceless and pitiful debutante, slouching and shivering. I didn't heed the fear. I didn't interpret the fear as an instinct designed to warn me of potential harm. Backing out wasn't an option. I had committed to a task and it was going to be executed with or without my enthusiasm. I did, however, sit far across the room from him, staring at the sweater in my lap, fussing with the sleeves. Maybe I wanted him to back out. Maybe I wanted him to say, no, not yet, let's wait until you're ready, let's talk instead. But neither of us could resist the peer pressure and social conditioning. Each of us separately obeyed the momentum. Friends hurried upstairs. He asked how I was doing, and when he asked, he spread his legs, slowly swinging them open and shut. He leaned over to kiss me, but I was afraid I wasn't kissing right. I had been so focused on learning how to give the perfect blowjob, I neglected to inquire about proper kissing techniques. I panicked, I charged, I recounted the lessons, I performed the steps, I swallowed. He doesn't have to thank me for his relentless confidence. He's always been handsome, charismatic, destined for great fortune. He's actually a millionaire now. Beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters. I guess I would harbor more resentment if typical teenage mild sexual coercion wasn't probably the worst transgression he committed over the course of his charmed life. He and I remained peripheral friends for several years. Occasionally at parties, post-graduation, post-exodus, reuniting at familiar stomping grounds, the cardboard boxes of 30 packs ripped and emptied, he would seize a lull and blurt, "Hey, remember when you gave me my first blowjob?" And I would laugh, politely participate in his jovial attempt to evoke nostalgia. But as the choices of our youth snowballed and solidified, I noticed an increasing divergence. For him, the incident was a quirky blip in the past. For me, the incident was tethered to the present. He advanced, gaining new ground. I spiraled, repeating the same mistake and expecting a different result. 2 boys requested blowjobs. I said yes to both. One boy requested a blowjob. The same night, another boy requested that I remove my clothes and straddle his girlfriend backwards. Where did they come up with these positions? So he could finger me while he fucked her. I said yes to both. I said yes to stroking a cock in an auditorium, surrounded by our English class, during a stage production of Hamlet. I said yes to losing my virginity to someone I just met that night in the backseat of a Ford Bronco during freshman orientation. I said yes to parking lots, parking garages, alleys, an elevator, a computer lab, a laundry room, a supply closet. I said yes to coworkers, supervisors, and cheating husbands. I said yes to my drunk boyfriend, ogling and groping my unconscious best friend, bringing him home, lying him flat on his stomach on my bed, wiping the drool from his chin. The list is long. The items dwindle, become a little less egregious, but continue throughout adulthood. I thought that if I kept saying yes, kept appeasing and accommodating, excusing and forgiving, then eventually I would reach the limit, scrape the bottom. The boy, any boy who dangled that delicious carrot, the prize of love, intimacy, acceptance, would finally succumb to gratitude and reciprocate. I'm still unlearning this bad habit. I'm still undoing the damage. Sometimes I still reek of yes. Sometimes yes exudes from my pores, and I fail to swat these buzzing temptations. Do you want to meet for a drink? Do you want to come back to my place? After he shooed me from his apartment the morning after I spent the night weeks earlier. I still attract a certain type in my scent. I know my first yes didn't establish or even alter the trajectory. My first yes merely announced, made visible with hindsight. For years, I reviewed and rejected the usual suspects of explanations. For years, I subscribed to a ridiculous Ayn Randian concept of individualism, determined that my inability to earn respect derives solely from personal flaws and weaknesses. I refrained from blaming sexism, racism, capitalism, my parents, not my poor parents, not my war bride, alcoholic mother, and veteran PTSD-induced authoritarian father who barely touched or spoke to each other, sacrificed for me and indulged me to compensate, loved me fiercely and desperately and unbearably, not because I mattered so much that I needed to not matter, yearned to not matter. But not every girl with sad parents grows up to be the total so-called slut. Whatever the myriad of reasons, I often wonder what would have happened if I had said no the first time. If I had told my friend to tell his friend to tell him to go fuck himself. Maybe that would have given me more traction, helped pave the way in a healthier direction. But I'm also beginning to wonder, and I took years to admit that this might be a more appropriate premise, what would have happened if he hadn't told his friend to tell my friend to tell me that he would let me do anything? What if he didn't ask? What if none of them asked? For a brief stint, when I was 25 years old, I worked at a women's shelter for survivors of domestic violence. Their plight didn't necessarily resonate with me. I was too arrogant and oblivious to observe the correlation. I just wanted an interesting and humane occupation to enhance my resume. My interactions with the residents was negligible. I answered phones, entered data from questionnaires and intake forms. I watched the children watch television or play in the playground in the yard while their mothers searched for permanent housing. Some of the women stayed 2 days. Some of the women stayed 2 months. Some of the women returned again and again, fleeing the same partner or fleeing many different partners. I was baffled. How could a relationship that is so brutal, so toxic, be so hard to end? How could she not see it coming from the next person or the next person? How could she keep falling into the same trap? I heard a bunch of terminology from a bunch of therapists: love bombing, trauma bonding, gaslighting, chasing the dragon of a figment who once felt so real but never truly existed. But a particular theory sticks with me the most: seeking redemption. She knows she's no saint, no angel. She's aware of her contributions. She's trying to get right what she got wrong before, fix what she broke before. A misconstrued phrase, an unwarranted reaction. She could have been more relaxed, more patient, more diligent, more loyal, more compassionate, more committed. She could have been more, done more, because she sees herself from his point of view. How she bothered him, disappointed him, betrayed him, abandoned him. Because her hurting him is more important than him hurting her. Back then I was nestled too deep inside my own pattern. I couldn't connect the dots to the guy I was pseudo-dating who frequently ditched me to play poker, how he texted to inform me that the boys went home, wanted comfort when he lost, celebration when he won, and how I jumped at every chance, dropped plans, left a friend mid-conversation, left a tab open at the bar, turned off the oven and wrapped a half-thawed pizza in aluminum foil, rode my bike to his house in the dark. Even now, with some gleaned perspective, I'm still pulled by the gravity of his ego, his stipulations, his requests. I'm still guided by a precedent of ingrained behavior, a false optimism of redemption, that this time we'll do it again and get it right. I wish I didn't have to say no. I wish I didn't have to protect or defend or assert myself. I wish the bridges between people didn't need guardrails. It lasted less than a minute. Soon after he tugged the flaps of his pants, zipped his zipper, buttoned his button, buckled his belt, I could hear their footsteps rumbling on the ceiling. They stampeded downstairs, cackling, raring for the debrief. How was it? A friend asked him. He grinned wide and winked. The boys resumed brand practice, shot pool, sipped beer as if nothing special happened because nothing special happened. The girls reconvened in the bathroom where they confessed that they knew exactly what happened. They were all huddled on the snow on the ground, fogging up the glass of the basement window, watching. They saw everything. You saw? I gasped, recalling, envisioning my movements from their vantage. One of the girls was stammering an apology, but I interrupted. Did I do it right? She assured me I did it right. I didn't believe her.
Wow.
Let's hear one more time for Ms. Brina. Art's most recent full-length collection is Parasite Kingdom from WordWorks 2018, winner of the 10th Gate Prize, and his most recent chapbook is In Place from Seven Kitchens Press, which just came out in 2022. Yeah. He has taught creative writing at the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts and the Willow School, whose creative writing program he founded and directed, and for the New Orleans Writers Workshop and the Kenyon Review Writers Workshop for teachers. So many things. Series editor, he's also series editor of the Hillary Tam Capital Collection from the WordWorks. He lives, writes, and gardens in New Orleans. BradleyShore.org, come on.
Hi. I need something to set things.
Yeah. What you gotta do?
I recommend the two gingers. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for staying. Thank you so much to Miki and Michelle and Megan and to, oh my God, Liz, that essay was incredible. Justin and Stacey, oh my God, so much great work, and our open mic leaders. Wow, so great. Buckle up. Beginning with a moment of bliss in my youth. Legs up on the levee, midsummer, midnight. A skinny, big-dicked boy inside me crooning, I want to marry you and take you to Japan. I know I am a fireball, my flight, tracing the ridge seam of God's taint in the sky above the greasy Gulf of Mexico. I am a fireball, my light, brighter than every moon, swollen full in Earth's memory. As the boy's dick swells more, and he fucks me harder, and I wonder, can my asshole take this? And my asshole answers, I am large. I contain him. And meanwhile, Earth, your gravity tugs at the iron in my heavy head, my nucleus, my little nut. Oh, Earth, I know you want me to be your fireball forever. You want to swallow me whole. Slides out, zips up, the boy. Hey, can you drive me back to the party? Gotta find my girl. So there is no Japan tonight, only America, running up the levee slope in its black robes in blue strobe, pointing at the sky. You'd think I'd know this poem. Love song. Forgive me, I thought I was dead. Your flag draped over my face, dolls across my lap. I want to leave. I want to thrash out from under the swelling crest of the dollar before its undertow swallows us like a snack. I'm going to eat your heart like a snack. You're going to eat my heart before this undertow swallows us. Swollen crest of the dollar, I want to thrash out from under the dolls across our laps. I want to leave no flag draped over our faces. Forgive me, I thought. I was dead. Thank you. I'm finished. If you care, then rinse the soot from my mouth. Here's $1. Let me know if the future left a message I can swallow. The newscaster tells me the story of our lives before I can check the ballot. Before I can check the ballot, it tells me the story of our lives. I can swallow the newscaster. If the future left a message, here's $1. Let me know, then rinse the soot from my mouth. Thank you. I'm finished, if you care. Forgive me. How little it took to legislate assent, the way gods make themselves appear natural. I love the way you masturbate. You make a ring of nudes in a meadow feel lonely. The long night comes when you have no one left to talk to. When you have no one left to talk to, the long night comes. Feel lonely? You made a ring of nudes in a meadow yours. I love the way you masturbate, make themselves appear. Natural to legislate assent this way. God, forgive me. How little it took. Forbidden, we wipe ourselves away. What difference does it make? Like any liar, you know the trick. Fuck you. Just aim. It only leads to more fire. If beyond the fire there's a door, here's $1. There is no dollar if beyond the fire there's a door, but it only leads to more fire. Fuck you. Just aim. I like a liar. I know your tricks. What difference does it make? I forbid you to wipe yourself away. Thank you. I'm going to read one more poem from Parasite Kingdom. So my elevator pitch for this book was something like, these poems are set in a fantastical kingdom whose ruler is a pathetic tyrant, and his nemesis is a mythologically gigantic blue wasp who lives in a burrow beneath the palace. You're not going to actually hear any of that in what I'm going to read. But this poem seemed to fit with my sort of theme for the night. It is called How I Will Remember Paradise. And the speaker of this poem has gone through some stuff. This whiskey is excellent. How I Will Remember Paradise. Watching a wasp drowse on a windfall quince. Chalk dust on my last roses. Across the road where army bulldozers have razed the bombed-out school, soldiers unload lumber and stack pallets of bricks for the new school they're building. Blackberry vines have trained themselves around the rebar left from the garden wall. One soldier, stripped to the waist, strides smiling through the gate and asks for a drink of water. I hand him the hose, twist the spigot, watch his lips as he sucks at the feeble stream, douses his hair, lets the water rinse his thin, dirty chest. He turns off the tap, loops the hose on its hook, asks me, "Is that rosemary?" "Yes," I tell him. His pants barely hang on his hips. Why is he still standing here? "He must be glad about the school," he says. One day, I tell him, a teacher crossing the street after lunch twitched, kneeled, and collapsed. A sniper's target practice. And then round after round of shells blasted the school and half the houses. When I could finally walk outside again, pale dust whitened every leaf and stem. No water to rinse them. They stood for weeks like that, like statues. He smiles. "That sounds beautiful." "Yes," I tell him. "Maybe when it's safe, you'll help me clear the rubble from my garden wall. Maybe we'll find a little body, berries crushed in its fists." I step closer. "Beautiful, everything." He thanks me for the water. I'm going to shift gears and tones a little bit and read a few poems from my most recent chapbook and place. So that was how I remember paradise. So this is how I am whole. They're very different. How I am whole. Some days, I just want to be an idea. Form, duration, écriture. But my body keeps getting me lost in things. Mist so white it brightens my classroom windows before thickening into rain, the slow darkening of roux in its iron pot as I stir until my shoulder aches, the hidden heat in carnation petals. I love sex so much, that slick spasm out of mind. I believe the body does just fine without ideas. Yesterday, an artist asked for the story of my body. As our studio's skylight filled with snow, I remembered a porch in late summer and me, 6 or 7, standing shirtless by the screen door, feeling the glow of the whole day inside me and thinking, I want to remember this. One more how poem. So this is how one goes on. In the mornings, there's coffee, also 4 cats, and a huge bromeliad that has not bloomed in years. In the mornings, there's the kindness of the one who brought the coffee and set it on the nightstand. Let the day wait while it cools. Over breakfast, planes crash, flags fall, mothers die. After breakfast, it is important to lie wrapped in a blanket on the couch and coo, goofy girl, to the Siamese. At noon, there's nothing to note, just the memory of your mother reading late at night with a cat in her lap. One has no choice in these matters. There lies the afternoon. It will be yours until it isn't. Will you pick up the shirts from the laundry, pay the bills, dig up the daylilies from the now too shady bed, and move them to a sunnier one? 5 years since you dug them from her garden. There went the afternoon. Dirt clinging to the bathtub, the checkbook unopened on the desk, the green shirt you love on the kind one still waiting. Here comes the evening with its poem you should have been writing all day. Evening with all its unforgiven faces, all yours. Night, dirt under your fingernails, whiskey filling your mouth, the box of her pulverized bones on a closet shelf. Where is the kind one? When will he come? When will he be home? Morning, as if it will never come. Okay. We'll go back to my youth for a moment here. Cinderella. 19. I liked how tank tops, tight jeans, cutoffs showed off my 100 push-ups, my lakeside runs. Drag's magic wasn't mine, but it dazzled when Dallas showed up to work a la Brooke Shields, his chunkier, broad-shouldered body beguiling as a girl I could get into. It was 1983. My world seemed small, tidy, divided into men's and women's, hits and misses. Dallas needed a wedding dress for a show he meant to win, so after the tip split and shift drinks and ones for the road, we waiters and busboys grabbed our go-cups and catwalked to the fancy resale shop next door. The owner, Dee's pal, had given him the key and her blessing for one night to try on whatever we wanted. Girl, you're gonna rip these seams, squealed Ray, tugging at the zipper that refused to budge another inch of Dee's back. God fucking damn, that was but one. Dee squirmed, shuffling off the brocade-coiled gown he'd scoped all week. Ray and the gang consoled him as they processed into realms of lesser dresses. I lingered, seduced by the gown that spurned Dee's girth, then stripped, stepped into the sheath, reached behind, zipped. You bitch, and you not even a queen. No, never outside those walls, but as my queens cooed, tugged, and turned to me for a crowded mirror, I saw myself at 14, done up as Frankenfurter, a rocky horror party starlet, pert in thigh highs, garters, and corset. And see, at 9, I'm the star of my solo closet dramas, raiding mom's walk-in when she goes out, some other body tingling under flowy rayon prints. Prince, princess. So many suitors, cloaked in their pursuits. 3 more. I am a poet, so I write odes. So, here you go. Ode to Bowls. Here's a nested set of 5. Tan, sturdy, rough-lipped. My mother bought at a flea market from a weeping widower. And there was once a chipped porcelain sink where baby eye was bathed, and a marble font where sinners' fingers dip, but not mine, not in years. I thought I knew the washbowl and pitcher, gold trimmed, my grandmother kept on a stand in my father's old bedroom. Heirloom, I thought, until after her funeral, I pulled from the pitcher's mouth a boxed paper tag. 2-piece, $49.50 in cursive pencil. At the intersection of Jefferson and Claiborne, I rolled down my window to place $5 in a bowl a man holds toward me. What is a bowl? Half a bubble, glowing, blown from molten glass. Clay thrown on a potter's wheel and fired and glazed. Always fire in every bowl's making. Always a cooling to harden this soft shape. In the kitchen, I drape a towel over the bowl on the counter where bread dough swells with a billion breaths. I stack cereal bowls in a cabinet like skulls in an ossuary, and place on the pantry's highest shelf broken halves of bowls I've loved and might grew whole again. There's the cat's water bowl that says dog. There's the resin-lined bowl that fills my head with smoke I release like a prayer. And here is the bowl I live in, reclaimed basin of a marsh where Chitimacha hunters caught snipe for Creole housewives until the railroad came, tracking the basin's rim and crossing it, then parcel by parcel marked off for houses, schools, libraries, streets, where potholes are bowls, sand and gravel never fill, but water will. Thank you. So, like many people during the pandemic, there was not much to do, so we walked. My husband and I walked and walked and walked and walked and walked. And, you start paying attention to the weirdest shit. There's not much else to do. And so I really started noticing like all the little decorative concrete lions on people's stoops. And I began to imagine a world in which all monumental lions are replaced, every one, with monumental chickens. I was at a birthday party in the Bywater, in a backyard with a stage, a wagon, a cat asleep on a mattress in a trailer bed, and 3 chickens roosting high up in a tree. Between sips of champagne, we tilted back our heads for a glimpse of those round, feathered darknesses. Okay, chickens, just chickens, but also more like angels than the cat or us, more like denizens of a sidereal coop, and equally at ease 20 feet above the earth as the running chicken of Lambda Centauri in its turbulent heaven. I just ate a bowl of chicken stew with turnips, carrots, rice, and collard greens. I have no desire to eat a lion. I could more easily befriend a chicken than a lion. I do not want friends who are brave and strong by dint of massive haunches and crushing jaws. My friends don't lounge in the sun licking blood-stained paws while I watch, pretending my fear is admiration. My friends are busy. They spend all day looking for what they need in the dirt around them. They squabble, have dust-ups, stare, startle. Their nobility consists in their persistence and their ordinary omnipresence as domestic decoration. This pair of Russian Orloffs, for instance, giant frost-crusted pine cones on the library steps. This modest flock of Transylvania naked necks, posed on the 4 corners of Trafalgar Square, ease the mind of imperial nostalgia and offer no hope of empire's return. Here is Richard, Coeur de Lion, de Poulet, excuse me. Here is Richard, Coeur de Poulet. Here is Christ, chicken of Judah. Here in the desert, a man-headed chicken crumbles away, never scratches toward Bethlehem. And here is my mother, in her chickens of green glass and of blue on my shelves, and in her hen and rooster of cast iron, and the rain right now in my garden. Fair warning before I read my last poem. I will have to sing. I sing very badly. It is called Lapis Lazuli, and that, yes, is, for those of you who know your William Butler Yeats, this is a reference. Lapis Lazuli. And really, truly, thank you so much for being here. It's really great to be with you. Among all the unimaginable things, imagine Shuggie Otis at 17, composing Strawberry Letter 23, playing 3 kinds of guitar, 2 kinds of piano, also bass, organ, drums and bells, and singing every part, harmonizing with himself. All through the morning rain I gaze, the sun doesn't shine, rainbows and waterfalls run through my mind. For 4 minutes and 2 seconds, I believe there is no world without music, without genius to compose and play it, conjuring a garden where we sit and share smoked trout and a white Bordeaux, telling stories about the good in us. The song ends. I play it again. Nothing lasts while we do. 250,000 years of evolution went into making Shuggie and into our making 250,000 acres of New Mexico burn, and 1 million more tons of Greenland's ice melt into acidifying seas. And theocratic thugs place liens on every uterus, and a white kid nursed on 4chan in pandemic lockdown decides to save his race with lots of guns. Blue flower echo from a cherry cloud. In my pocket, I keep a smooth nub of lapis lazuli, tumbled and polished, found at an herbarium in Philadelphia, one more nub among hundreds heaped in a basket, while the friend I was with selected herbs for spells that keep her whole. Later, we bought takeout barbecue and ate it sitting on the sidewalk, amazed to look at the crowded market we just left and imagine it as it was a few months past, as it might be again any day now, locked, empty, its air, no one's breath. Pitted gray flecks, my fingers worry, holy blue, mottled with milkier hues. Remind me, I'm still here. Thank you so much.
Setting right.
All right. So some quick reminders. We had, every featured reader tonight has a book out. So buy Sweet Bitter by Stacey. We have Parasite Kingdom and In Place by Brad. It's the most full-length collection and chapbook. We have Speak Okinawa by Liz. We have Justin's newest book, My Heart is Shaped Like a Bed. If you enjoyed the reading tonight, please support them by buying their work. August 19th is our next Gold Room. Daniel will be there, as well as Charisma Price, Tay Smith, and Kate Root. It's going to be an amazing night. It's also our last night as hosts, so please come out. And as a reminder, we have a generative workshop with our new endeavor called Liminal. It will be on July 27th. Sign-ups forthcoming.
Reschedule for next time, Justin Lamb.
Justin Lamb will be here, and he'll also hopefully be at Liminal sometime soon.
Yeah.
He's not going to be here in August, but I'm pretty sure he'll be here in September. And for September Gold Room, we already have Maurice Ruffin signed up, so that's going to be amazing. So all good things, so many good things. And as a reminder, the chapbook contest for Tilted House closes July 31st. $200 cash prize and beautiful hand-bound copies for you. And yeah, anyway, we love you all very much. Thank you for being here.